talk commercial livestock farming, we talk three factors: genetics, management, and nutrition. Nutrition accounts for 80% of animal care on the farm. It helps promote the growth, reproduction, and quality of the animals. Livestock nutrition consists of mainly pastures that are classified into grasses, legumes, and fodder trees. The Ugandan livestock agribusiness is slowly embracing the modern and improved feeding management systems for livestock farming in a bid to achieve realistic benefits from this venture. Coming up on Seeds of Gold.
Farmers, they don't know how to start and what to start with. The farmer will first bring animals before they establish pastures. Then the animals start dying, then the production is less, then they are spending a lot of money, and then that's when they start researching and looking for pastures. But the best way is always have feeds first.
Brian Natwijuka is a 26-year-old graduate from Makerere University College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. He is an entrepreneur in agribusiness and has decided to spearhead the pasture farming and management sector. Brian is operating his own pasture farming and management company called Robran Holdings Limited.
We do pasture seed production. We do hay and silage production as part of various addition to pastures. We do farm planning in relation to pastures. We have an ICT farm management system that we brought in after looking at the problems farms are facing in relation to management. So we help farmers in planning for their farms. In relation, we first look at the objective of the farmer. What do you want to do, or what are you doing? Are you rearing goats? Are you rearing cattle? Are you rearing for beef production? Are you rearing for milk production? Then after establishing the objective of the farm, then we plan which pastures do you need, how are you going to add value on them, how are you going to feed the animals, and then we establish these pastures for you. We are students at Makerere University College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. That is when I met the managing director of CHURAD, Mr. Apple Segawa, and he shared with me an opportunity to upscale the production of pasture seeds in this country. When I met him, it was exciting. It was something nice that I had, like you're going to grow grass and it is going to be for commercial purposes. So I got interest as an entrepreneur. Of course, when he explained to me how it is going to be done, I saw it as a very big opportunity. But when I sat down and did my simple research, then I got a lot of interest because I found there was a very big gap where the country was struggling with the pastures. Animals could die because of drought. Then we were given an opportunity for a very big training in relation to pasture seed production. We took it on. After the training, we were given a startup capital of 4 million, where we established 2 acres. One was Clolis, Guyana, and another one was Lab.
Pastures have existed since the beginning. However, farmers still need a lot of information on its management so as to benefit the animals and in turn increase production for profit maximization on the farm.
As you can see, this grass is 4 months old, but you can see how productive it is. Now, this is what we are talking about. All these pastures that are growing by themselves in the field, there's no pasture which can produce as much as this. Now, when we talk about high production, we are meaning the ability of the grass to produce herbage. For example, if you are having a zero grazing unit and you have your 3 or 2 acres, and you want to plant feeds for your animals. Now, you need the grass which is high productive, so that you can use that small area that you have to feed more animals. 2, we are looking at nutritional values. Of course, as I told you, these are not new pastures that we've brought. These are pastures that already exist in our landscape in this country. But then we are bringing them and manage them because they are good. Now, we look at nutritional values. How nutritious is the pasture? 2, we look at palatability. How is it sweet to the animal? How does the animal enjoy eating this very pasture? 3, we look at the digestibility. How the ability of the grass to release nutrients to the animal. You know, nutrition goes beyond just seeing the animal satisfied. That's what we call stomach feeding. It goes beyond that. The animal needs to get nutrients, because these animals, you see, they're like factories. What you feed them is what you get out. Once you feed them with quality pasture, then you expect quality products. For example, now we are promoting growing of grasses and legume. So for example, if you plant Chloris Guyana, you need to take it as a point and you plant Centrosema in it. Reason? 1, we are trying to do nutritional balance in that in the same field, so that you harvest a complete feed for the animal. Once you plant like Chloris, you add Centrosema, then you have already balanced the nutrients. So once you harvest, then you are taking a complete nutrient to the animal. 2, legumes are nitrogen fixers. Nitrogen fixers, and the grasses need nitrogen to produce more. So once we add them together, then we are sure of production, which is a very big factor as we are promoting pasture farming in the country. And 2, we are doing nutritional balance. Then another issue is the ability to withstand drought. Some of the pasture we are promoting, like Chloris Guyana, like Sencras, Centrosema, they are drought resistant. So that even in the periods of drought, you can still have feeds, even if you've not really harvested hay.
When planting pastures, it is best to test the soil textures and topography before planting. This will help establish the right pasture varieties for that particular region. These are some of the steps you take when planting some of these pastures. Chloris Guyana, neatly plow the land twice, mix the dry seed with sand to give it weight against the wind, then throw it on top of the land in straight lines and do not cover. Bracharia, this is planted using plantlets from the mother gardens. It will need a spacing of 1 meter by 1 meter. Dig a hole of 1/2 meter, plant and then cover with soil. After planting the grasses, it is advisable to then intercrop with legumes which are good for nitrogen fixation.
So this is Centrosema and this is Chloris Guyana. So as you can see, they grow together. So as we cut the hay, we are cutting Centrosema as well. We are cutting Chloris Guyana. Of course, you will find that there are pastures you cannot grow in waterlogged areas. There are pastures you cannot grow in an area where there is a lot of running water. So we first look at the area, then we understand which pasture we have to put in this place. For example, you cannot put Chloris in a waterlogged area; it will not produce. But you can put Mulatto in an area which is not very well drained, which you can at least try to do management with drainage. So we first look at the soil, we look at the topography, we look at how fertile is the soil, then we choose which pasture that can grow there, or we choose if we are going to plant it alone, or if we are going to mix a legume in it, or if we are going to first put legumes so that we boost the fertility of that soil, and then we plant grass the next season. Of course, I've found many farms struggling because farmers, they don't know how to start and what to start with. The farmer will first bring animals before they establish pastures. Then the animals start dying, then the production is less, then they are spending a lot of money, and then that's when they start researching and looking for pastures. But the best way is always have feeds first. After having feeds, look for good genetics. After looking for good genetics, get good management, and then you are successful. Of course, weeding is a very important aspect of pasture management, especially when they are young and tender, because we want to make sure we reduce competition with other growing weeds or whatsoever grass of any nature that we have not planted. So one of the reasons why you see me talking about we plant in lines, the reason is we want to make sure management is done. We want to make sure weeds are removed when this grass is young. Once you've planted with legume, you don't need to think about fertilizer much, but after 2 years, the production reduces highly, so you need to add organic fertilizer, or you need to increase the rate of the legume that you're mixing with it, so that you at least boost production again. Of course, as we are feeding these animals, they are giving us manure. So why not take the manure back to pastures so that we keep our feeds productive.
Brand Holdings, some of the pastures they have tested and have faith in for a productive job are...
This is called Lab Lab. It's one of the best legumes we have. Of course, it produces a lot of fodder. As you can see, harvesting is very easy. You have to make sure you harvest the leaves like this. You don't cut the stalks down. After harvesting this, you go chop them into smaller particles. You shade dry them, and then you mix in feeds when the animal is feeding. This is called green leaf desmodium. You can also mix it with grasses, or you can plant it as a pure stand and you can harvest it and make legume hay out of it, or you can also harvest and shade dry and always mix in animal feeds. This is called centrosema legume. Centrosema, we mix it with most of these grasses except Napier. This is called Bracharia mulatto. Bracharia, we use it if you are to use it for hay production, then you have to wait for 4 months. You cut it and make hay, as we talked about. If you're going to let our cows go in and eat, you're going to wait for 5 months. Of course, we need the root system to first be stronger so that the animals cannot uproot it. So it is one of the best pastures we are promoting. This is sugar napier. As you can see, if you see it, you may think it is even a sugar cane, but it's a napier variety. It's one of the best varieties. It has high production. It has more sugars, which makes it very good for silage production. For fresh feeding, you have to cut when it is less young. The only problem it has, it needs a very fertile area. This is a fodder tree called Grisidia. It's one of the best fodder trees. It has a lot of nutritional benefit, especially milk production and weight gain in animals. It has a lot of protein. One, it can be used as a live fence, yet it is a very good feed, a very nutritious feed. Two, when kept at a young level, it can give a farm a very nice looking beauty because you can always shape it the way you want. After harvesting these leaves, we don't just take these leaves and give them to animals. What we do, we shade dry these leaves. We allow them dry under shade, and if they are allowed to dry under shade, you can keep it even for 2 years. So it's a better way of value addition. And then you mix in the feeds that the animal is taking. This is napier grass, or you can call it elephant grass, or you can call it a visagazi. This very type is Kakamega 2. How we use it, we can add value on it, or we can cut and feed fresh. When you want to cut and feed fresh, normally we have seen farmers make mistakes. They harvest it when it has overgrown and when it no longer has nutrients. Make sure you don't allow it to have two visible nodes. Or make sure it doesn't grow above 1.1 meter. Two, you can do silage. Silage, you chop this grass and ferment it. So this is Chifuta, but this one is a hybrid. Most people, if you are walking in all gardens and in most highways, you'll find on sides of the road you will be seeing this very grass. But when you touch it, you'll find that it is different from the one you're already seeing. So it is spongy in nature. Its production is very high. It was crossed between. It is a cross between Brachalia bredansa, Brachalia decumbens, to come up with this variety, Brachalia mulatto, and it is a very, very, very good one.
Grasses take between 3 to 6 months before harvest, depending on the grass variety. Like for the case of Chloris Guyana, harvesting should be done at 3 months. Joel Osole is one of the field extension workers at Rebran Holdings, and he knows just when to mint money out from the farm.
What I'm doing is harvesting the seeds of Chloris Guyana, the grass that is used for hay, and a carbohydrate source for the animals in people's farms. So where I reached here, it was after observation that it has reached maturity. How did I know? I start observing from the stage 1, which we call bloom, when they start producing the heads out of the nodes. So when the heads spread and burst, and then they start flowering, and then in 2 weeks they shed off the flowers. That's how I come to know that my seeds are mature and ready for harvesting after 21 days of the bloom. When you're harvesting, you harvest about 3 times. So in an acre, you are supposed to get 100 or 90 kilograms. That is 1 acre. Yes, that's the maximum for Chloris Guyana per acre as you harvest. In terms of benefits, Chloris seems more benefiting because Chloris, first of all, it has it's a multi-purpose grass. First of all, you can sell the seeds when you have the right market, or when you turn to look at us as you become our outgrower, we can always buy the seeds from you after we have tested or we have monitored your management activities in the field. And then for hay, a farmer is supposed to get 200 bales from an acre. Yes, farmer is supposed to get 200 bales from an acre. And then for the case of the green chops, it's a constant thing, because after by the time you are finishing your acre in 2 weeks, the ones you harvested before will have rejuvenated. So for the fresh feed, it's a constant supply.
From grass, Emma is producing high-quality pasture seeds of Chloris Guyana for seed multiplication, hay from Chloris Guyana, bracharia and legumes, and silage, which is mainly made from the moist grasses.
This is Chloris Guyana seeds, or Lord's grass seed. As part of what we do, we are seed producers, and we have to make sure our farmers are supplied with high quality seed, and by doing that we make sure we produce this seed by ourselves. This is our hay. We teach farmers on how to make hay. This is one way of adding value to grass, so that we are promoting, if we are looking at zero grazing, this is a very good way to go. Most cases, you'll find some places they are hit by drought so much and the animals have nothing to eat. But once in the periods of rain, there's a lot of production of grass. So if you can harvest grass, make hay, then it means you have feeds in periods of scarcity. How is hay made? I showed you the grass and how it is harvested. This is Cross Guyana hay. So you harvest Cross Guyana. If you want to make hay, you harvest it when it is not raining, when it is shine days. What you do, you cut the grass. After cutting the grass, you let it dry for a full day when it is shining highly for a full day. And what you do, you make sure you fix the grass. You fix the grass in the box. So after fixing the grass in the box, then you tie it and make your bale. And this is the bale we keep. Because we understand farmers have no access to these tractors, but we are teaching them the local methods on how you can still make your own bales and keep your grass. With Cross Guyana, an acre, you at least expect over 200 bales of 10 to 15 kgs. The quality of this hay is very high because the nutrients are balanced, since it is a grass and a legume. So another high quality that you have to see is you have to make sure it is not molding. The reason why it molds in most cases is because access to moisture. So you have to store it in a place where it cannot get moist. This hay can stay for over 7 years.
A bag of harvested pasture ranges between 30,000 shillings to 100,000 shillings, depending on the variety. However, farmers looking to embrace the pasture farming enterprise must be on the lookout for some of these challenges and critically manage them if you are to capture the pasture market.
At least from the simple research I'm making and the results I'm getting is all farmers need pastures. But most of them, they don't have information. They don't know what is pasture, they don't know what is this grass they are talking about, they don't know why do I have to manage the pastures, they don't have this information. So part of the challenges we are facing is that we need to first spread the information so that we get the market. Then another major challenge is you need large chunks of land to produce much seed to satisfy the market. We haven't really satisfied the market as yet, but we are progressing to keep adding on farmers whom we can partner with and become our outgrowers and supply us seed.
With a helping hand from partners like Curad, Emma is living his agribusiness entrepreneur dream through pasture farming and management. Curad is a leading business incubator operating under Makerere University Agricultural Research Institute with the mission of turning young graduates into successful agribusiness entrepreneurs.
Pastures is one of those new value chains that can be transformative, that can turn our small-scale farmers into commercial farmers by employing the climate-smart agriculture that are associated with most of the pastures. Our smallholder farmers with 5-10 cows can turn out a good yield of milk and beef. So we feel this is one of the value chains that can really improve the livelihoods of our smallholder farmers. So that's why we went into supporting entrepreneurs along the pasture value chains. But as Curad, we do also support entrepreneurs along the coffee value chain, along the horticulture value chains, and along other innovative ideas from ICT that have something to do with agriculture that can the youth are interested in, and they can start a business and they can grow an income. So it's no longer feasible just to rear cows and think you're going to depend on natural pastures. They are no longer enough. The weather, as we know, has changed. The rains are not reliable. So without a stable feed supply, which can only be done by planting your own improved pastures, you cannot sustain a good herd. So I appeal to all farmers who still think the traditional way of rearing cattle is by letting them go out to the bush and come back. It's no longer feasible. The weather's changed, the grass is not enough. You need to plant your own pastures and feed the cows.
When I see a lot of people talk about pasture farming in this country, I become very happy because I know it has been my input. It has been the vigorous marketing. It has been the vigorous training of these farmers. So when I see people talking about pastures, when I see everyone is thinking about growing pastures, the market is growing, I feel very happy because this is something that I found with no one talking about pastures. Now our main goal is we want to see all farms in Uganda developing and all farms in Uganda growing pastures. And we want to see a lot of commercial pasture seed producers. We want to see people who are focusing on silage and hay production, and we want to see others focusing on milk production. So it becomes a chain where many people are getting jobs, we are all making money. Others are into feeding, others are into milk production, others are into genetics. So this is the kind of environment that I would love to see.